Good afternoon and welcome to Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Secretary, will you please take roll?
Assemblywoman Backus. Assemblyman Carter.
Present.
Assemblywoman Duran.
Here.
Assemblywoman Hardy.
Here.
Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Here.
Assemblywoman Kasama.
Here.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Assemblyman O'Neill. Assemblywoman Torres.
Here.
Assemblyman Yeager. Assemblyman Urich. Chair Marzola.
And I am here. Please mark Assemblyman O'Neill present once he walks through the door. Welcome everyone who is here in Carson City, those joining us in Las Vegas and on the internet, and also anyone turning over on the phone. Before we get started, I'd like to make some housekeeping announcements. Please, everyone, silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door. For those testifying online, please be sure to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to minimize any background noise. When testifying, please turn on the microphone and clearly state and spell your name for the record. Then turn the microphone off each time you are done speaking. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 20 copies to the committee secretary prior to your testimony. I expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during our meeting, even if we may not agree. Lastly, committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 216. This measure revises provisions governing travel insurance. Assemblywoman Gorlow, you may start when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Michelle Gorlow, representing Assembly District 35. I'm here today with Michael Byrne to present Assembly Bill 216, and as you mentioned, it revises provisions governing travel insurance. I will give you a little bit of background information, then Mr. Byrne will talk more about the bill and what it does. The U.S. Travel Association reported that as of mid-January, over half of all Americans are planning to travel for leisure in the next 6 months. Domestic or foreign, adventurous or familiar, these trips create a number of travel risks: weather delays, mechanical delays, and medical emergencies, just to name a few. Cue the need for travel insurance. Travel insurance is a type of insurance for risks associated with traveling, such as lost luggage, trip cancellation, and delays. Consumers who purchase travel insurance when booking a trip know they will be reimbursed for part of or all their expenses should an unfortunate event occur that prompts cancellation or interruption of the trip. The Association of Insurance Commissioners, which is known as the NAIC, reports that policies are generally good for domestic and international travel and usually cost between 4 and 8% of the total trip price. The main types of travel insurance include trip cancellation, interruption, delays, baggage loss, delay, or personal effects, travel medical, which is secondary health and accident insurance in case of illness or injury while traveling, medical evacuation, and cancel for any reason, which allows the insured to cancel his or her trip and receive a partial refund for any reason not covered in the original trip cancellation policy. Travel insurance is distributed and underwritten differently than traditional personal insurance products like auto and homeowners. In 2015, the U.S. Travel Insurance Association and Tourism and Travel Industry Consumer Coalition raised concerns regarding lack of specificity and consistent application of regulation of the travel insurance industry. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners appointed a working group to consider developing a model law to establish appropriate regulatory standards for the travel and tourism insurance industry. The working group drafted the Travel Insurance Model Act, which provides protections to consumers. The Act defines a regulatory structure related to travel insurance and covers market regulation, rate regulation, and enforcement. The Model Act was adopted by the NAIC in 2018. According to Alliance Partners USA, 29 states have already adopted or enacted a version of this Model Act. So at this time, I will turn over the bill presentation to Mr. Byrne.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Gorlo. It's a great summary. Hopefully you all can hear me. Really appreciate all the background and your support, and appreciate the committee bringing the bill before everyone today. My name is Michael Byrne. It's Michael, and last name is spelled Byrne. And I represent the United States Travel Insurance Association, otherwise known as the USTIA. The USTIA's members include insurance carriers, third-party administrators, insurance agencies, and related businesses in the development, administration, and sale of travel insurance and travel assistance products. Two of the members of the USTIA, I believe, are standing by and will just give some brief testimony also in support of the legislation, including someone from Allianz who was mentioned, the company was mentioned earlier, which is a travel insurance underwriter. Thank you again for bringing Assembly Bill 216 before the committee today. AB 216 is important for travel consumers, state insurance regulators, and the industry. AB 216 contains NAIC Model Act language. As you all know, the NAIC is all the chief insurance regulators throughout the United States. And the NAIC model is essentially identical to a model act authored by the National Council of Insurance Legislators, otherwise known as NCOIL. As mentioned by Assemblywoman Gorlo, 29 states have enacted the Model Act so far. Several other states are considering the Model Act this or next session. AB 216, if enacted, would amend the insurance code to clarify the regulatory framework for the sale of travel insurance on a national uniform basis. The bill standardizes definitions and contains consumer protections, including with respect to sales practices, a free look period for refunds, and various consumer disclosures. It expands on the limited line licensing of travel insurance producers that is already provided for in Nevada statutes. The Division of Insurance in late 2018 voted at the NAIC in favor of adopting the Model Act, along with nearly every other state. The USTIA and other industry participants support this legislation. We are working on a few clarifying amendments with Assemblywoman Gorlo's office. Those amendments are simply just to make the legislation more consistent and more aligned with the Model Act. We hope to have those done soon and happy to share those. We are not aware of any opposition to the legislation. And thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm also happy to do a section by section walkthrough of the legislation if that's helpful as well. But thank you.
Can you please walk us through the bill?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but it's hopefully won't take too much of your time. But the first two sections are introductory sections of the legislation, just that introduce the succeeding sections of the bill. Sections 3 to 19 contain the operative terms that are used in the legislation, basically the definitions that are contained in the NAIC Model Act, including the definition of what is travel insurance and what are travel protection plans and what is not travel insurance. Section 20 sets forth the applicability of the bill, which policies and certificates that are issued to Nevada residents and generally just the scope of the law when it applies in Nevada. Sections 21 to 29 concern licensing and registration, and those sections codify the NAIC's uniform licensing standard, which was adopted in 2010 by the NAIC and then subsequently incorporated into the NCOIL Limited Lines Travel Insurance Model Act, and then the standard is now in place and has been in place in Nevada for a number of years and is in place in, I think, all but 2 states. And the Model Act makes some technical tweaks to this standard, just some minor clarifications that have been needed over time. Section 30 of the bill concerns travel protection plans and provides that travel insurance can be sold as part of a travel protection plan, which may include travel insurance, as well as travel assistance services, which would not be insurance, and or cancellation fee waivers, which also are not insurance. It's basically you can cancel for any reason. It doesn't have to be a reason covered by and underwritten as insurance. Sections 31 to 33 and 44 concern sales practices, and those sections clarify the permissibility and prohibition of certain activities to remove uncertainty around travel insurance and how it may be sold. And those were some of the issues that Assemblywoman Gorlow raised in terms of concerns over how the industry was regulated and how there was uncertainty, which led to some inquiries from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, which then led them to pass their Model Act. For example, these sections expressly subject those offering travel insurance to the state's unfair trade practices laws, except as expressly provided otherwise in the bill. And those prohibited practices include illusory travel insurance, which is insurance that in effect could never be called upon to pay a claim. That's prohibited. Opt-out provisions are prohibited, which is if I'm on a website, for example, if you make me check a box to say that I don't want insurance, rather than have me affirmatively opt into insurance, that is prohibited. You can't have a negative opt-out on a website, and marketing blanket travel insurance for free. These sections also require certain consumer disclosures. Sections 34 and 43 concern travel administrators and clarify the authority required to act in Nevada as a travel administrator, which is basically a managing general agent, third-party administrator, or other property and casualty insurance producer or licensee. Travel administrator acts very similarly to these other entities in developing travel protection plans, collecting and processing charges for those plans, and administering claims or providing other related services related to the travel protection insurance. Section 35 classifies travel insurance for purposes of rates and forms as inland marine insurance and provides that travel insurance can be sold and underwritten as an individual policy or as a group or blanket policy. Section 36 authorizes but doesn't require the commissioner to promulgate regulations to implement this legislation. Section 37 is intended to merely clarify via cross-reference to your existing law, Nevada's existing approach to imposing a premium tax on travel insurance premiums. Again, that's just a clarification by cross-reference. There's no intention to change how travel insurance is subject to premium tax in Nevada or any other state. And the remaining sections are miscellaneous sections that make conforming amendments, repeal existing law, and provide for an effective date of the legislation. I know that's a mouthful, but thank you for allowing me to take you through the legislation, and obviously happy to answer any questions about any of that.
And Chair, if I may, this is not typically something that I delve into, so this is something new.
Can you state your name for the
Oh, I'm
record,
sorry.
please?
Yes,
Okay.
Michelle Gorlow for the record. I apologize. I just want to say inland marine, that was one of the things I had to look up. So for those who might not be familiar, that's insurance that covers goods that are being shipped by train or truck.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. We do have some questions from members. We will start with Vice Chair.
And I do have a couple of questions, Madam Chair, if that's okay, and you can cut me off at any time. But thank you for bringing this forward, Assemblywoman. I do have a couple of questions, and either one of you can answer it. So I did read through the bill, but I did not read through the 14 sections of repealed NRSs that are listed in the back page. How different is this model language from what was repealed? Because I know this is a repeal and replace of the entire travel insurance. So how different is this new model language from what was repealed, and how many states have adopted the model language?
Thank you. For
29. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. This is Michael Byrne again, Michael, last name Byrne. Thank you for the the questions, Assemblywoman. 29 states have enacted this model so far. As I mentioned, nearly every state already has the limited lines travel insurance producer licensing model act, including Nevada. I'm not sure which of the provisions are being repealed because most of these provisions from the model act, other than the limited lines licensing provisions, which I think are just mere tweaks to bring them in line with the current NAIC model. I don't think any of the provisions being repealed address any of these issues. This is, I think, brand new in the Nevada Insurance Code. I'd have to look at that, but we're not replacing an existing law that addresses the issues that I just went over in the overview.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the follow-up. And I just have a question under Section 24 where it's applying to travel retailers. And so I know, again, this might be replacement, so that's what I want to find out. It's requiring now the travel retailers to produce information regarding the insurance instead of the actual insurance producer, right? It's the retailer. So are they allowed to just get already printed information from the producer, or are they going to be required now as part of this new law to print material that explains what this insurance is as a retailer?
Yeah, great question. That's nothing new in that.
Can you state your
provision.
name for the record, please?
Sorry, it's Michael Byrne, MICHAEL BYRNE. My understanding is that's not any different than what happens currently, at least in practice. And you're right, all the materials would be provided by the licensed producer. In fact, the retailer is not allowed to advise on what's covered, what's not covered. They're not allowed to give advice on insurance coverage. Only the limited lines insurance producer or a fully licensed property and casualty producer can do that. So that's nothing new. The retailer is not going to be called upon to make up materials. Those materials would I think always be given by the limited lines producer and or the insurance carrier that describes those products. And the limited lines producer licensing framework, which Nevada already has, which we're just clarifying here in a couple of ways. That is the purpose, right? It's to allow travel retailers who are not in the business of insurance. They're in the business of selling travel products and travel packages. It allows them to, what's in the legislation that I think is under current Nevada law as well, allows them to offer and disseminate information about insurance and then be compensated for that. But because they're under the supervision of the limited lines licensee, that's all they do is just give information and any substantive questions about the coverages or advice that a traveler might want about what the insurance covers, they would then go to the licensee for those questions. So that's consistent, I think, with what you have now.
Thank you. Okay, that actually clarified it for me. And as I read it back, it just said that it had to be material that had been approved by the insurer. They had to disperse it from it, but I guess that's material that they've created, the insurer themselves. And then if it's possible, would you be able to send us a list of those 39 states who have adopted the model law?
Absolutely. We have a map. It's 29.
29. Okay.
I'm sorry. It's Michael Byrne again. Yeah, I wish it was 39, and it will be hopefully by the end of this year or early next year. But yeah, we can send you a map where it's been enacted.
Thank you, Chair.
Committee members, any additional questions? Assemblyman Urick.
Thank you, Chair. This seems like really good common sense legislation for consumer protection. My question is really kind of simple, and I'm going to go to my ignorance of not knowing the travel insurance market in Nevada. How many small insurance carriers exist right now? What's the makeup? Like, I can only imagine with some of these increased regulations, it might wipe some people out of the market. Do we have an idea of what that breakup is and how many current carriers might be impacted if we were to enact this legislation?
I don't know this. I mean, I know the market generally. Again, sorry, this is Michael Byrne on behalf of the United States Travel Insurance Association. I know the market is competitive. Some of the names, the insurance carriers they're Allianz, who will testify, AIG, U.S. Fire, Crum & Forster, which is part of the Fairfax Group, Chubb, Nationwide, and a number of others, the ones they're all members of our association. There are a number of travel administrators like Aon and I think Arthur J. Gallagher that put together these plans and may have other markets. But I think most of those carrier markets will be members of our association. So I don't know the number. I don't know the breakout of what you would consider to be like a smaller insurer or larger insurer. I can say though that I think what you're getting at is it's common sense regulation legislation. We obviously don't think that this, and we're the industry, right? So we obviously don't think this is putting anyone or endangering anyone's business. This is not going to add burdensome regulation to small businesses or any other businesses. This is what this market really needs to operate under a certain regulatory framework. And this goes back several years to what Assemblywoman Gorlo mentioned before, around 2015 to 2018. There were some questions about how this market operated and how travel insurance was sold that we thought, as the industry was well established for many years, regulators never had an issue with it. Most states never had an issue. It was really a couple states that led some inquiries through the NAIC into basically the entire way that the business was sold. So this is really just to get some certainty around that and to really allow all the businesses in travel insurance industry, including small businesses, and some of them are travel agents, some of them are aggregators that are smaller businesses, some of them are comparison sites, small insurance agencies, really anyone. This provides a certain regulatory framework for all of them and really imposes the limited lines framework, imposes the regulation on the producer, which has the license to sell insurance. They're charged with knowing what the laws are and compliance, and they supervise the retailer. So it puts the compliance obligation and the burden on the entity where it belongs, on the producers, on the limited lines producers, and the carriers to make sure, obviously, that their products comply with whatever they've filed in the state. So we think, as the industry and the regulators have agreed in adopting the model, and everywhere we've gone around the country so far, that, as you said, it's common sense, it's good and reasonable regulation that the industry wants, that we think consumers want and need, and that regulators need. So hopefully that answers your question. But this is not. This is designed to make the market work more efficiently, not impose unnecessary regulation on anyone.
Any additional questions? I don't see any. Thank you, Assemblywoman, for bringing this bill. I think that it's creating a uniform and for businesses and making it more clear, not only for the business end, but also for our travelers. So I appreciate it. With that being said, we will hear testimony in support of Assembly Bill 216. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to provide testimony in support? You can begin when you're ready.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Samantha Sato for the record with Career Nevada. We are here in support of AB 216 on behalf of our client AIG. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Dunn with Bells and Case Government Affairs. I am here on behalf of APCIA, the American Property Casualty Insurers Association of America. The APCIA is pleased to support AB 216. A letter has been submitted to Nellis by Mark Sexton. Thank you.
Anyone else in Carson City wishing to provide support testimony? I don't see anyone. Anyone in Las Vegas? I don't see anyone. Broadcast, is there anyone on the phone lines?
To testify in support of AB 216, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, 1 second. Sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. In support of AB 216, please press star 9 to take your place. Caller, you're unmuted on our end. Can you please make sure that your phone is unmuted? Go ahead, caller.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, my name is Karen Alvarado, CarenAlvarado. I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs for Crum & Foster, a subsidiary of Fairfax Holdings. My organization has been writing travel insurance for many years, and we are very familiar with the unique intricacies of these products in the marketplace. I'm also co-chair of the Law and Reg Committee for the U.S. Travel Insurance Association, USTIA, that Michael Byrne represents, which is comprised, as he said, of a variety of organizations involved in the travel insurance industry. I'd first like to thank the Committee of Commerce and Labor for allowing interested parties the opportunity to provide testimony in support of Travel Bill AB 216. As Assemblywoman Garlow and Michael Byrne said, by enacting this legislation, Nevada would join a growing number of states, 29 in total, and hopefully growing, which will incorporate a uniform and workable regulatory regime for travel insurance products. My organization as a carrier welcomes this crucial legislation because it builds upon existing regulatory frameworks and further promotes a structure that works for everyone. We believe this works for regulators, consumers, and industry players alike by promoting a clear and level playing field with minimal negative disruption. Nevada would join the 29 states that have already incorporated this regulatory framework into their statutes and would ensure clarity and consistency is provided to the way travel protection products are regulated. On behalf of Crum & Foster and the USTIA, I'd like to thank you for your consideration of this bill that would ensure industry and consumers would benefit from this framework for travel protection plans that include insurance as well as non-insurance components. We support Assembly Bill 216 and would like to urge the Nevada Assembly to pass the bill. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else on the line broadcast?
If you recently joined the call and would like to testify in support of AB 216, please press star 9 to take your place.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Duke DeHaas, DEHAAS. I'm Deputy General Counsel at Allianz Global Assistance in Richmond, Virginia, and I am testifying in support of AB 216. Thank you very much, Chair Marzola, for having the hearing today and for spending some time on travel insurance issues. Our company, which is based in Richmond, Virginia, is heavily involved in the travel insurance business across the country, and we really appreciate Assemblywoman Garlow bringing this legislation before you, which we believe provides a good regulatory structure that is understandable by consumers, regulators, the industry, and yourselves. So thank you for bringing this bill before you. I'll be very brief, just to address a couple of points that were raised by questions. One, I believe Vice Chair Jarigi, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name, we can certainly get you a map of the 29 states, and we're actively working in 11 more, including Nevada. Secondly, to Assemblyman Urick, hopefully I'm getting his name right, his question, this is essentially codifying the market as it exists now, putting that into the code. Nevada already has limited lines legislation in place. This will not shut anyone out of the market. The travel insurance market is growing, and more players are entering the market because of that growth. And this regulatory structure will help provide consistency and uniformity for a product that travels with the consumer around the world. So we believe it will help put the same rules in place everywhere, which will be excellent for small businesses as well as large. And so finally, just want to thank you again for bringing this legislation before you, and Allianz supports AB 216. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I will note that the USTIA will be having its annual conference in Las Vegas next month, so I look forward to being out there. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there
no
anyone?
additional-
Is there anyone else on the
Sorry
line?
about that.
That's okay.
Yes, there are no additional callers for support at this time.
Thank you. We will now move on to testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 216. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to provide testimony in opposition? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone in Las Vegas? I don't see anyone. Broadcast, is there anyone on the phone lines?
Chair, the line is open and working, but we have no additional callers for opposition.
Thank you. I will now move on to testimony in neutral. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to give testimony in a neutral position? I don't see anyone. Is anyone in Las Vegas wishing to provide testimony? I don't see anyone. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in a neutral position?
Chair, the line is open and working, but we have no callers for neutral at this time.
Thank you. Assemblywoman, would you like to give some final remarks?
Thank you, Assemblywoman Michelle Gorlo, for the record, and I just would like to thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 216. So thank you.
And thank you for your presentation. I will now close the hearing on Assembly Bill 216. I will now open up public comment. Please address your remarks to issues that fall within the jurisdiction of this committee. We ask that public comments be kept to 2 minutes so that everyone interested in speaking can be accommodated. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to provide public comment? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone in Las Vegas? I don't see anyone. Broadcast, is there anyone on the phone?
To provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you so much. Committee members, any final questions or comments before we adjourn? I don't see any. This concludes our meeting today. Our meeting is adjourned.